Hey guys, welcome to day one of Build Your Body, Belief, and Bank Account. I am so excited that you're here. We're going to get started here in just 1 second. As you are jumping on, I'd love for you to comment and let me know where you're from. So that would be great if you could just comment and let me know where you're from. We're going to go over some housekeeping stuff here in just 1 second. I am going to, I think, shift my camera this way. That's a little better, I think. There we go. For some reason, though, you guys aren't flipping around. Anyway, so welcome to day one, BBB. I'm so excited you're here. First of all, we need to go over some housekeeping stuff before we get into the training on day one. So first of all, if you have not, hey Kelly, I'm sideways. I shouldn't be now. How about now? Am I still sideways? Okay. Well, am I still sideways? Can someone let me know? Because I had flipped my camera, but I thought that I had flipped it back. So, am I good now or am I sideways now? Let me know, because I just shifted it again. Sideways now. Okay. All right, hold on. What about now? The only thing with this is I don't know where to look. That's cool. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you, Ellie. All right. So let's go over a couple housekeeping things before we get started into the training. First of all, I am so grateful that you guys are here. This training putting it together has been a labor of love for me because it is just stuff that I have learned over the past few years that has really changed my life and my belief system. And I hope that it'll do the same for you. So it's completely different than anything I've ever done. You guys who know me know that I have been into health and fitness for a long, long time. I was a personal trainer, have online programs, involved with Metabolic Effect. You guys probably might know me from that or from JillFit. I competed in fitness competitions. I did all of that stuff. And, you know, I just got to a point one day when I just realized that even though I had what others would consider a nice body, I still wasn't happy. I was still looking for outside validation, but we'll get into that in just a second. Let's go over some housekeeping things real quick. First of all, do you have your workbook? Comment yes if you have your workbook. Okay, if you don't have your workbook, if you have not signed up to get that, then I need you to do that. And I am going to comment right now. Hopefully it's going to let me do this with the link for that. So be sure it's not too late to get it. So go get it if you haven't gotten it already, okay? That would be a big help. So give me just a second while I type this. I had planned to do this actually from my desktop, but for whatever reason now Facebook is not allowing me to do that. It was letting me do that last week. I don't know what the deal is, but anyway. So get your workbook if you haven't gotten it. A couple people have told me that they hadn't gotten it even after I sent it out last night. Make sure you confirm your email address when you sign up. That is an anti-spam requirement. So you'll get an email asking you to confirm your email address. So check your spam folder too to see if you have gotten that email. So every day, if you miss the live broadcast, that's no worries. I am going to send out video links each day to your email. That's another reason why you need to sign up. And we're also going to be having some fun stuff and some surprises along the way. And especially today, I'm going to send out an email a little bit later on, might be early this evening, with a special surprise that I just came up with today. So you want to be sure to check your email. And then secondly, for those of you who have downloaded your workbook and who are on the trainings either live or replay and you comment, I'll ask you questions along the way. So those of you who actually write in the comments, you guys are going to be entered into a drawing for a gift that I will give away on Friday. Okay, so if you can hang in for 5 days, there's some fun stuff that's going to happen. So just a little information here on how this is going to work. So today is our first day, so obviously we won't have a review, but starting tomorrow we'll have a quick review of the prior day's training, okay, with a quick Q&A. So your questions regarding whatever it was that we talked about that day, okay? So those who comment, either live or replay, yep, got this, talked about that. Now, as we go through this stuff, and today especially, I think, today is going to be tough, you could have some icky feelings that come up, okay? And for those of you who got the email last night, you know, I talked about, don't feel like if you read through the workbook, you say, okay, I got this stuff. I don't need to listen to the trainings. I don't need to do the work. If you truly want to change, then you really do have to look inward. So I really urge you to go deep with this, be honest with yourself. It's going to get uncomfortable, but you know, that's kind of where change happens, right? So I just want to just warn you that you might feel, I don't know, just not good, uncomfortable, okay? But the discomfort zone is really where the magic happens, right? So I'll get with you, Kelly, and send it to you, okay? Any questions so far before we dive in? I'm going to keep these trainings really short, no longer than 30 minutes because you guys, attention spans, I know. And that's another thing. If we can all agree, we have to make some agreements here. If we can all agree and just type, yes, I agree, to play out at 100% with this, eliminate distractions. I know when I go through online trainings like this, I have a tendency to be all over the place. I'll be checking this Facebook, I'll go to Instagram, I'll check my email, I'll take a phone call, all that stuff. And I really need you to be fully present as we're going through this. Okay, so if you can do that, and if you can keep an open mind, because some of this stuff might get a little woo-woo on you, and maybe you haven't heard it before, if you can keep an open mind, then say yes. I agree, 100%. Awesome. Love it. Okay. So, I'd like for you all just to sit back. Thank you. Sit back and just take a couple of long, deep breaths. Okay, so we're just going to get centered here. Nothing crazy, but for me, I know it helps me calm down so I can better serve you. So let's just take some big inhales in and exhale out. Big inhale in and exhale out. Oh, that feels good. Are we feeling a little bit more relaxed now? I think I am. So I want you to take a little trip with me, okay? And for some of you, it may be a little bit longer of a trip than others, but I want you to think back to many years ago to when you were just a little baby, okay? So your earliest memory, or even you don't even have to remember, but think about how you were when you came into this world, okay? You had no preconceived notions, you had no programming or conditioning or beliefs or anything. You basically were dependent on your parents to take care of you. You didn't care what other people thought of you. You didn't care what you ate. You didn't care how much money you had or didn't have. You were perfect, right? You came into the world perfect. And here's the thing. Somewhere along the way, we got messed up. And it's nobody's fault. You know, it's not your parents' fault. It's not your siblings' fault. We like to blame outside influences for a lot of things, but sooner or later we have to realize that we have to step up and take responsibility for our lives, and we have to stop blaming other people and circumstances and situations, right? So, but think about your earliest memory of where maybe you started noticing some negativity around your body, or maybe around money. Today we're going to focus on our bodies, but think about that, the earliest age. And for me, I can remember, I think I was probably in the 4th grade. And you know, in my time, when I was growing up, I'm 47 now. So when I was growing up, kids weren't obese. You know, it was very rare to see a child who was overweight because we were outside playing, we were very active. And while I wasn't obese, I was a little chubby. And I was very insecure about that. And well, I remember the first time that I became very insecure about it, it was my mom sat me down and I was asking to have 2 pieces of toast with butter. And she asked, "Are you sure you want 2 pieces of toast?" And for whatever reason, I was at that, you know, kind of weird stage in my life where I was starting to notice, you know, other people, and noticing that I, you know, was a little chubbier than them. And so it kind of got me thinking. Then my dad, and he, of course, meant nothing by this at all, would call me pleasantly plump. So that's probably my earliest memory of, and it wasn't even really anything negative, but it was something that stuck with me for years. And as I got older and was, you know, hit puberty and started to develop, and I developed pretty early for my age, you know, it just brought in all of these other insecurities throughout the years. And then my mom, you know, our parents are, you know, our greatest teachers, right? Well, when they are not having, you know, the best life themselves, you know, we're mimicking what they do, we're learning from them, then it just kind of spirals, right? So my mom was, and she, you know, knowing what I know about her background and all of that, oh my goodness, she was doing the absolute best she could with what she had, but she had some unhealthy habits, and those kind of, you know, rubbed off on me. I saw what she did and I thought, oh, I'll just do that. And so when I was in high school, I developed an eating disorder. And, you know, that's really hard for me to talk about. I don't talk about it that much, and not very many people know about it, but it affected me for a long time. And, you know, and I blamed her for a long time, you know, when I was trying to recover, because I was like, if only she had been normal, if only she, what does normal even mean, right? If only she had been normal, I wouldn't have gone down that path. I wouldn't have been obsessed about food all the time. I wouldn't have, you know, had all these terrible feelings about my body. But you know what? Again, there comes a point in time when you have to let that, and I have an acronym, actually, hashtag, and you guys feel free to use this, LTSG, hashtag LTSG, let that shit go. And I don't use a lot of profanity, but I do sometimes, so it's not meant to offend you at all. If you're offended by it, I apologize, that is not my intention, but you can say let that stuff go. But for me, I have to remind myself on a daily basis, let that shit go. So LTSG, feel free to use it. Okay, so I want you to think about your youngest memory of when you started to feel a little weird about your body, okay, and kind of trace it back, okay? And if you go to page, let's see what page we're on here, page 3 of your workbook, okay? And remember, you guys, get your workbooks if you haven't. We're not going to go through all of these questions today, but I want you to go through them after we finish, for sure. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to really think about this. How happy do you feel in your body on a day-to-day basis? And we're all going to have off days, okay? We're all going to feel weird every now and then about our bodies. But on average, how do you feel? How happy do you feel in your body every day? Okay, so just think about that for a second. Think about how you feel when you look at yourself in the mirror first thing in the morning, when you're getting dressed. How do you feel? And, these other questions I want you to go through and answer. What are some of the things that you've been told from a young age about your body? For me, it was pleasantly plump. So that stuck with me for years, years and years and years. So I had this notion in my head for, probably till my early 30s that I was pleasantly plump. And I kind of, obsessed over that. I got addicted to exercise. If it wasn't a food addiction, it was an exercise addiction. So it was like this mind game, really until my early 30s. And then it took from that time until now really to work through why all of this stuff happened, why I dealt with all of this stuff. And I really had to look inward to do that. How did the female figures in your life, how did they talk to themselves about their body? How did they talk to you about your body? Were they supportive? Were they, what kinds of things were they dealing with? Think about all those things. Do you ever, oh my goodness. So I talked about this in a live that I did a couple weeks ago. And it was all about Goldschlager. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but Goldschlager was a liquor that was popular back in the early 90s, I think. And I would go to this country bar called the Crazy Horse. And I didn't even like country music, but they would have these line dancing classes. And I would go and do line dancing, and I loved it. It was so much fun. But my drink of choice was Goldschlager. And it was awful. It was like cinnamony and had these gold flecks of I don't even know what floating in it. It was awful. And so one of my business mentors, Amy Porterfield and Marie Forleo, talk about taking shots of Comparschlager. So comparing yourself to others. Do you look at someone and think, oh my gosh, they have a perfect body. I want that. I want to look just like them. And then do you beat yourself up when you don't? So taking shots of Comparschlager, and that is probably one of the worst things that you can do, because I will tell you, what you see online, 9 times out of 10 is not real. Okay, so there are, we know that there's airbrushing and there's filters and there's all sorts of stuff, and you don't know really what's going on behind the scenes either. So I always like to say, you're seeing everyone's highlight reel online. What are some of the negative or disempowering things that you say to yourself around your body? Okay, why am I so fat? Why am I so weak? Why can't I, why am I so slow? These were just some of the things that I would say, why is my butt, why are my hips so big? I'm just thinking things that I used to tell myself. Why can't my, hips be narrow like hers? Why, why can't I place first in this competition? And what that did for me is basically perpetuate those things in my head being the same. So until you can flip those disempowering statements and questions around into something empowering, all the same stuff's going to keep showing up for you. So you have to really think about, first of all, today we're focusing on the disempowering stuff, and that's why it gets really uncomfortable. And if you dig deep, then it can dredge up some pretty, pretty hard stuff to think about. But it's necessary for us to do that so that we can understand where our patterns and our beliefs come from, so then we can start shifting them to more empowering statements and beliefs. Because all of this stuff our subconscious has been programmed with, okay? And unfortunately, our subconscious is it doesn't care whether we feed it good or bad information. Okay, it's just going to take what we give it, and it's going to create our habits and our beliefs and our thoughts and how we show up in the world. So we have to, I mean, and a lot of this programming has been years in the making. So we have to, in turn, unlearn what we've learned, right? As Yoda says. I love that. You must, when he's talking to Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back, and Luke is belly aching about trying to move a stone, you know, and basically Yoda calls him out and says, you must unlearn what you have learned. So that was my Yoda impression. Anyway, so, you know, I talked about this too. How do you feel when someone gives you a compliment? Okay, someone compliments something you're wearing or something about your appearance. Do you deflect it? Do you say thank you? Or do you try to shy away from it and just say, oh, you know, whatever, and then you maybe give some self-deprecating humor around it? Self-deprecating humor, I do it all the time, and I really have to catch myself, but self-deprecating humor can be very damaging as well. So you want to watch out for that when you're just saying, you know, for me, I'm always talking about how clumsy I am. And, you know, I'll say, I can't even walk and chew gum at the same time, you know, stuff like that. And it's really, you know, meant to be funny. But the thing is when you do it over and over again, you're programming your subconscious mind to say, well, yeah, I am clumsy. So, yeah, let me trip over this, you know, wall that, that just seemed to pop out of nowhere, right? So watch that self-deprecating humor as well, because it can be very, very damaging. Just some things, and this comes from one of my favorite books. I highly recommend this book, guys. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. It takes a lot of this stuff. I've studied this stuff for quite a few years, but the way that she presents it is so easy to understand, and she's so funny that she's very relatable. So I would definitely recommend that you pick that up. So here's what she says about our subconscious beliefs. No matter what you say you want, if you've got an underlying subconscious belief that it's going to cause you pain or isn't available to you, you either A, won't let yourself have it, B, you'll let yourself have it, but you'll be all effed up about it, and then you'll go off and lose it anyway. I love that. So, you know, isn't that so true? Think about times in your life, you know, maybe when you've started a new diet or exercise program, and you're all excited in the beginning. You're like, this time, this is going to be it. I know it. This is it. This is the answer. And then you get, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the plan. Okay? I say this all the time. I can give you the best diet and exercise plan on the planet. You know, let's pretend that one exists that works for 100% of the population, which we know that there isn't. But let's just say that there is, okay? And there is 100% or 99.9% success rate with this plan. Well, if you don't actually believe that you can do it, if there's some kind of underlying subconscious belief and fear around you getting to your goal, then do you think you're going to be successful with that? No, you're not. So some scenarios that she brings up. This is really good. Conscious mind. Okay, our conscious mind thinks that it's in control, but it's not. Our conscious mind is everything is in, our subconscious mind really controls everything. Okay, and like I said, it doesn't care if you give it good or bad information. It takes what the conscious mind gives it and molds our beliefs and our habits. So your conscious mind says, I long to find and marry my soulmate. Subconscious mind says, intimacy leads to pain and suffering. And do you think that your soulmate's going to show up? No. Conscious mind, I want to lose 25 pounds. Subconscious mind, people aren't safe. I must build a shield to protect myself. Successful on your diet plan? No. So those are just a couple. There's so many others, but that's what I'm talking about, subconscious beliefs. It goes deep. And that's why this workbook, you guys, I want you to get really real with yourself and figure out what it is that's holding you back, okay? Think back to your childhood. Think back to your peers. Think about your life now. Who's influencing you? Do you live in a supportive environment? You know, what would happen if you reached your goals? How would you feel? And a lot of people don't, I mean, there's a huge, people fear success. I was like that for a long time. It's like, well, what am I going to do if I'm successful? Then that means that, you know, more people are going to be looking at me. And that means I've got to be, in my mind, I had to be perfect because, you know, the more successful I am, the more that people are going to look to me and, oh my gosh, I've got to be a perfect, you know, I've got to know everything. And you know what? That's just not true. So, author's name is Jen Sincero. I'll send it out in the email, but it's Jen, and then last name is Sincero. So that's what I want you guys to work on today. Okay, I'm going to send out an email. So your homework for today is to start becoming aware of how you speak to yourself, about your body, what are some of the words that come up over and over again. And then I want you to dig deeper and investigate why you say it, where those thoughts came from, where those beliefs came from. Go back to your childhood and write it all down. Okay, and then tomorrow what we're going to do is we're going to start rewriting that story that you told yourself. Okay, and that's where the fun starts to happen, is when we can start rewriting the story, understand and be aware. Don't dwell on it. I don't want you to dwell on it, please, but just understand it, be aware of it, and then we can tackle rewriting it. Okay, sound good? Any questions right now before we wrap it up for today? Any questions? All right, you guys, thank you again so much for joining me. Again, just a little reminder, be sure you're checking your email. Thanks, Chrissy. Check your email, okay, today, because I have a little surprise for you guys. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, for those of you who comment, you know, either on the live videos or the replay, be sure you're doing that, and you have your workbook. Friday, we're going to have a special drawing for a special gift, so you definitely want to be doing that. Thanks, Ellie. All right, you guys, take care. Hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I will see you guys tomorrow, 12 o'clock. Take care. Bye-bye.